Hello, Facebook family and friends. How are you? This is Edwin Cabrera here in Manassas, Virginia. And I just wanted to talk to you real quick. I'm not going to make this thing long, but I hope that you will put in the comment section, put where you're watching this from. Even if you watch the replay, put it in there so I can see how far this goes. I love to reach out to people. Greg Eddowes. Wow, that's been a long time, Greg. How you doing? Hope all is well. Brian Negron, thank you for joining us. I'm going to talk about, like I said, I'm not going to make this long, but I want to talk about change and about your brain and how it works and about, different things that are happening, in a way that you can really use. And I'm going to give you a short story. Hey, Paul, how you doing? I'm going to give you a short story of a young man. Now, I'm going to paraphrase this story because I heard this story a long time ago. When I was a teenager, I'm going to paraphrase the story. When I was a teenager, I wanted to change the world. Anybody ever been like that? When you're a teenager, you think you can change the world? Type of one of you were a teenager like that who wanted to change the world and thought that you can have an effect on the world. So when I was a teenager, I wanted to affect the world. So I traveled around the world and I saw all these different problems and situations, and I couldn't. It was too difficult to change the world. So I came back to my country and I figured, well, I can't change the world. Let me try to change my country. I'm in my 20s now. I figured, okay, let me try to change my country. I traveled the country and realized that, again, there are so many problems, so many issues that I realized that I cannot change my country. So I get into my 30s and I go into my state and I realize, maybe I could change my state. If I could change the state, then I could, have an effect on a lot of people. So I go traveling all around the state and find out all these different problems and all these different issues, and this economics and the psychological problems and everything else. Thanks, Greg, for typing the one. And I realized that state is big. My state is big. It's got a lot of problems. I realized that maybe I should go a little smaller. So I decided, let me change my city. I traveled out throughout the whole city and I realized that, there are millions and millions of people and they have millions and millions of problems. And I realized that these are big problems requiring a lot of resources. So I come down to my community. I decide, well, let me even go a little smaller. Let me try my community. And I go out into the community and I see all these problems of homelessness and finances, and there are no resources, very few resources. And I try and I'm now later in my life, 40s, and I realize that, wow, the city has a lot of big problems. So I go home and I contemplate, what's the next move? I look in the mirror and I realize that if I want to make a change in the world, then I have to make a change in myself. I have to change my psyche. I have to change my outlook. I have to change my attitude. And as I start to do that, I go out into the community, and with a different attitude and different change, I realize that I start to affect the community. And together we change our attitudes and we start to affect the state and the city. And city first and then the state. We get bigger. Suddenly we realize that our mission, and we grow together. Everyone is changing and affecting one another. We affect the country. And then we affect the world. So it all comes back to changing yourself. Thanks, James. How you doing? Jimmy, how's it going? So there's a little song here that I want you to listen to as we're talking here. If you remember the song of Michael Jackson, the person you want to change is the man in the mirror. Right? So that's what you got to start to change with. You got to start with yourself. You got to start with your own mind. And so, speaking of the man in the mirror, I'm reading this book by Norman Doji. I know I messed up his name. It's called The Brain's Way of Healing with Neuroplasticity. If you know a little bit about neuroplasticity, if you break it down, neurons in your brain, the connections in your brains, and plasticity is molding or plastic. So your mind is kind of plastic and it is moldable. And this is something that a lot of people do not realize, that your brain is moldable and that you can control from the brain. You can control. Now, through his book, he's talking about controlling pain through light, sound, vibrations, and imagery. So this is, I recommend this book, and he's got another one called That Brain That Changes Itself. That was his first book, and then he went into The Brain's Way of Healing. And he uses an acronym called MIRROR, MIRROR. Now, I changed his acronym a little bit. I got it from him, so just so you know. And I'm going to give you an acronym. If you know, an acronym is a word that each letter spells for something else, right? So the first one, M, for motivation. What is your motivation? What is your why? Why are you involved in what you're doing? Or why do you want to make a change? Most important is to make sure that that motivation, a lot of us want to, like working online, we want to make money. That's not the motivation. What does the money buy for you? That's really the motivation. You know, what do you want to, do you want to pay your bills? Do you want to have a better house? Do you want to have, a better car? Do you want to buy things that are going to make your life better? And so that's M for motivation. Now the I is for your intent, your intention. Your intent goes deeper than your motivation. Your motivation is in your head, kind of, as to what you want, but your intent is in your heart, really. Now, like we say in martial arts, you could tell someone's intent before they approach you, because they extend that energy and that vibe to you before they even do anything. And if you ever speak to people who've ever gotten mugged or accosted, they always said that they felt something in the back of their head. They felt the person's intent before the incident happened. But since they're not paying attention and they don't want to feel like, oh, they're a little paranoid, they don't follow that sense. So intention is your sense of who you are and what you want to accomplish. So that's the I for intention. The R, the first R, is for relentless. Be relentless. Never stop. Never give up. Never let other people dissuade you from what you want to do. Be relentless in your motivation and your intent. Okay? Now, the second R is be responsible. What is responsible? Say what you mean what you say. Say it. Do it, complete it. Don't give up on it. If you got to change it, then tell somebody, okay, I said I was going to do this, but because of certain circumstances, I have to change that. That's okay. You're being responsible to your word and to other people. What's up, D? Santos, great to see you. Now, and wow, this is great. I love to see you guys come over here. So the second R is responsible. The O is for opportunity. Everything is an opportunity, no matter how difficult, there's no such thing as failure. That's just an opportunity to change things and do something different. It's always an opportunity, right? It's not a failure. It's a setup for something else. That's the O. And the last R is reflection or thought or reprocessing your motivation, your intent, your relentlessness, your responsibility, and your opportunity. Always reinforce that information through thinking, through positive thinking, through reflection, through rewriting your goals, through reestablishing yourself and reestablishing your purpose, right? Your intent, your purpose of what are you doing here? So that's MIRROR. Motivation, intention, relentlessness, responsible, opportunity, and reflection. Now you can use those. I changed these around a little bit. Like I said, I took this from this book, from The Brain's Way of Healing. He uses it for healing your brain. And neuroplasticity, very important term, neuroplasticity. Your brain is not it's not unmalleable. It's not stuck in where it is. It is not always the same. It changes. I give you a quick example of how things change in your mind. If you were always doing one thing in your life or playing an instrument, and you play that instrument every day for years and years and years, your brain has that instrument stuck in their mind. But then you stop playing and you start doing something else. Your brain does not need that information about playing an instrument that much. So it starts to kind of put it on the side because there are other things that are coming into your brain, other things that you're focusing on, and starts changing the way your mind is structured. So I think that's a big idea, that you can change your mind and you can control your pain through your mind, through imagery, through sound, through light. So these are great concepts that we should think about. And I just wanted to get it out there so that people get to know a little bit more about that. So I hope that was helpful. If it was helpful, do me a favor, put a 1. You know, you're here, just put a little 1 that it was helpful. I appreciate the likes and the loves and all that, the little hearts and everything. Hi, Michelle, how you doing? I appreciate all of those. And so put a little 1. Parker was here, very nice. Thank you, Jimmy Santos. Yes. The other thing is that if people participate in these videos, then Facebook will promote it. If you don't participate in it, Facebook will say, nobody wants to hear this guy. So this is Edwin Cabrera signing off here in Manassas, Virginia. I hope you have a wonderful day, night, evening, morning, wherever you are. Take care. Bye.